What's up, guys? Welcome to Coffee and Karim. My name is Karim Jovian, and this episode today has been brought to you by kjovian.com. You guys can go check out that website if you want merch, coffee mugs, we got it all. And for the guest today is Adam
Koralik.
Sorry.
It's
Adam.
okay. Actually, I was struggling with your last name too. So,
Yeah,
we're even.
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for coming through.
Oh, no problem.
If you guys don't know who Adam is, he is actually one of the biggest contributors to the Shenmue community, the happening of Shenmue 3. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to let him take the floor. And just for the viewers and listeners who don't know, tell him about yourself.
I don't want to take credit for Shenmue 3. I would love to, but no, that was a complete team effort. That was a fandom effort. Everybody who was passionate about it, was screaming about it for years, got involved. And I just became a really loud face because I was constantly out there talking about it. But no, I do not take credit for that at all. But myself, I am a YouTuber. I've been a YouTuber for a decade now. Over my history, I've worked on 4 channels. Now, primarily, I'm just sticking to the one that just bears my name, Adam Koralik, where that's the one where I'd be talking most about Shenmue over there. And, it's been a ride talking about video games and all sorts of stuff. But, the funny thing is, the one reason I feel that I've been credited like that is because I was one of the only YouTubers who kept talking about Shenmue for years, like well before all the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter stuff. And so when it was actually announced, I completely lost my mind. And, there's there's a video of the reaction of that online. But yeah, I think that's part of it. And every time something Shenmue related happens, my Twitter just blows up. So it's fun to be involved, but really I don't take any sort of credit.
That's cool, man. I appreciate that. One of the coolest things is that every time I was trying to find information about Shenmue, your videos will always pop up.
Thanks, YouTube.
So I would always see the latest info, and you also speaking in a logical manner, because a lot of the Shenmue fans, there are a lot of dreamers out there, big dreamers, hoping that it could happen. This is gonna come out on the Switch. It's gonna come out on Nintendo. It's perfect for the Nintendo, but you. The video that stuck with me was the video that you said that was logical in a sense that if it comes out, it's gonna definitely come out for the PlayStation.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so 2 years before Shenmue 3 was announced, I did this 40-minute video. Yes, really, because I talk forever.
And I watched the whole thing.
Thank you. I did this long video with an analysis of why PlayStation 4 was the only console that made sense. I got about half of that right, because I also said I didn't think Kickstarter made sense. But I didn't account for the fact that some of it would come from Kickstarter and some of it would come from Sony as far as marketing to an extent, because that announcement they made was huge. But yeah, I called that in a sense, and I was happy to do it. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I try to make these arguments. It's hey, I'm a dreamer too, but I'm a pragmatic dreamer. This is why I think this can happen, not just, hey, where's my Dreamcast 2 version? That's impossible. Yeah, you gotta, if you want stuff to happen, you have to think about actual practical avenues in which they could.
Yeah. So tell us what got you into gaming, and what was your first memory of Shenmue? How did you fall upon Shenmue?
Shenmue specifically, or gaming?
Well, in the timeline, in a timeline sense.
Let's just stick with Shenmue.
Yeah.
All right. So Shenmue came out when I was in middle school. So it came out in 2000 on the Dreamcast. And when it first came out, my friends who had Dreamcasts were all super excited. But I had a Dreamcast. I actually didn't care about it. Oh. I saw these ads. I'm I don't get it. And I had this one friend in particular who was super we got to play this game. It's gonna be the biggest game ever. So we went and we got it at a Blockbuster, and R.I.P. And there's only one left in the world, by the way. So we went and we got this game, and he's playing it, and I was like, this is terrible. I did not like that game at all. I thought it was awful at first, and I was like, this makes no sense. He's just walking around. Can we go into that arcade? That part's at least you can play some other games. I did not get this game at all. And it wasn't until 2003, a few years later, I decided to revisit it at a slightly more mature age, and that really made a difference. And I've told that story before, but then I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with the first one and then the second one, playing them back-to-back on Dreamcast. I had the European version of Shenmue 2 on Dreamcast, and it really changed me. And I've said in the past, if I had the ability to, I would go back in time and punch the younger version of me in the face and be you don't understand how genius this game is. That's the thing with Shenmue is it can be a very intimidating first impression because it comes off to a lot of people as boring. But that's the genius of it, though. That's its virtue, is that it demands your patience, and if you give it to it, it will like engross you into the experience, into that universe. By the end of that, especially that second game, man, you're like, dude, what is happening now? And that is why it had such a psychotically devout fan base, you know, since 2001 all the way to now, 2019, 18 years later, and people are still that doesn't happen for
incredible.
that doesn't happen for other franchises, man, not to that extent. And it's just because that game it found a way to just get this passion out of you, so much so that here we are talking about it, just you know, memories of an older game.
Yeah, it's actually incredible that such a game can hold its strength for this long, and such a community and such a fan base that can continue it in some way. I mean, I remember people saying that's it, it's canceled, forget about it, it's not going to happen. But, I mean, it was trying to be rebirthed in the form of Shenmue City or Shenmue World.
Shenmue City was an online, like, little cell phone type of game that only came out in Japan. It was never really meant to be the next
anything.
thing. Oh, we all did.
I mean, anything.
Rio showing up in Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. That was insane.
Yeah, that was huge.
He has some other weird cameos. Did you know he showed up in NFL 2K4?
I did know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird?
His name, though, right?
It's just Hazuki.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. Another cool fun fact. This was an interview with the creator of... producer or creator of... what is it? Not Virtual Fighter, but Dead or Alive.
Okay.
He actually likes Ryo Hazuki, the character, and
I've heard that.
He wanted him to be in the game.
Yeah.
And... I mean, I'm hoping that happens now, since with all the popularity, like having him in Tekken or having him in...
well, DOA 6 just dropped, so come on, Sega, awesome. What are you doing? Let him out, you know?
I'll buy DOA 6 if Ryo Hazuki's in that. You know, anything that Shenmue touches, I buy, and it's crazy.
Tecmo, Sega, you got a sale right there. Don't mess it up.
Yeah, and another one that I was actually looking forward to, because back then I was really into online MMOs.
Shenmue Online, right?
I was
the still technically not canceled MMORPG.
Yeah, it's really not canceled? I thought
but
it was
of course
canceled.
It's canceled, but officially it's like, you know, the same way North and South Korea are technically at war. Like, it just hasn't actually ended yet.
I mean, massively multiplayer online games are popular again now, you know, all these Battle Royale games. I wouldn't mind if it comes out. I mean, it looked pretty cool. Just going with your... I mean, like, think about it. Like, having an online world where you get to do Shenmue things with your friends online, playing darts with a friend, or gambling with a friend. You know, like, it's just just so much that lends to it. That'd be in an awesome world. But I guess we're not gonna get that. But we're getting Shenmue 3.
I've heard.
Which is
you don't say.
Which is incredible. So
wow. I
wanted to know, what was your special memory with Shenmue? Because, I mean, as you can see, we're both huge fans.
Shenmue 3 or Shenmue?
I'm sorry, Shenmue in general.
Like all time.
All time. Special moment.
My most special moment, other than, I mean, originally it was when Shenmue 3 was announced. Like, that was insane. But afterwards, it was when Sega was gearing up to do the re-releases of Shenmue 1 and 2. Yeah. And months before that happened, they reached out to me and they're like, we want you involved in this. So, first of all, I got to know that was happening. Yeah. And then second of all, they're like, we're going to bring you out to Japan and we're going to take you to, like, the real-life Yokosuka and we're going to film all this stuff.
That's so cool.
Yeah, well, the funniest thing about that is when I was contacted about it, one of the first things I was asked is, are you able to go outside the country? And I was like, yeah, of course, I'm going to Japan in 2 weeks. And he's like, well, this is awkward. I was going to ask you to go to Japan. And I was like, he's like, where are you going to Japan? I was like, Yokosuka. He's like, so by the time I got to Yokosuka with Sega, that was like the 4th time I had been there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, so that was kind of cool too, because I ended up being their tour guide.
That's so bad. So we actually, I think we have a video of
we
that,
do.
Right?
So yeah, this is a video of in which I went to Japan with Sega to the actual Dobuita Street where Shenmue 1 largely takes place. Yeah, so
let's show it. This is actually real life areas from the game.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like...
Yeah, this harbor is like in the harbor in the game, obviously, and I've actually been to the American side of it. Yeah? There's an American naval base there. I've been on that too. Yeah.
So how is it? Like, is it like exactly the same?
Dude,
as the game?
It's eerie. It's really creepy. So this is the street like with the tomato mart and all that stuff in the first game. That area, and then this like area is kind of the inspiration for Rio's house that you're seeing some of the clips of here, like this stuff. Okay, wow. So there's me.
There you go.
Wearing the exact same shirt.
I love that shirt. Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's you get this like really strange vibe, and you'll notice because when you walk around there, there's always some of us walking around. It's like somebody goes into a parking lot and does this move, and you're like, I know what you're doing.
Nice.
Yeah, there's always a Shenmue fan, and if I'm there, and if I'm lucky enough, I'll go up and interact because I love to talk to other Shenmue fans about that experience. Imran Yusuf, wonderful guy, British stand-up comedian. Totally follow this guy. Hilarious.
I know this guy. He's really funny.
Yeah, he's
awesome
a good
guy.
dude. He's a good dude.
Awesome guy.
But yeah, it's really surreal to have been there and to have gotten to see all this stuff in person. Yeah.
So let's skip a
Sure,
little
sure.
bit
Yeah,
and
skip
see what else they have.
There's some locations that like are just like this place. Go back like go forward like I don't know 30
Right
seconds or so.
around
Yeah, right there. The Kurita's jacket shop. Those jacket shops look a lot like they do in the game. They actually own the
Wow.
point. Yeah. I mean, one in particular, is one of the only places I've seen that was like super proud of the fact that they're in the game. Yeah, there's me, and we walk past. You're gonna see it in a second here. The military surplus shop. This place. Yeah, this one specifically. They have like, they actually give away Shenmue merch in front of it.
That's amazing.
Like they have a guide, like you can actually see it possibly in that clip there. They have like a Shenmue guide map in front of it. They're one of the few places that totally owns the fact that they're in the game.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, actually recently the city of Yokosuka, yeah, we all do that. The city of Yokosuka did this big Shenmue promotion. So you could go there and they had guides everywhere. They had these little coasters everywhere, drink coasters with characters on them. And I did a video. I went back to Japan, back to Yokosuka for IGN Japan. And then after doing that as a thank you, the city of Yokosuka sent me like an envelope. And I was like, what is this? And inside is all this Shenmue merch. And I was like, whoa.
You lucky bastard.
Yeah.
Actually, that's so cool, man. I actually I love it, man. It's cool to see that. And one of the big dreams of mine, and my girlfriend, she's been trying to surprise me with it, but it's no surprise 'cause I know it's gonna happen because I'm gonna go. I want to go. I want to take her, and we want to go to Yokosuka and Dobuita and see just everything, like, because I have so many fond memories with Shenmue as a kid, and I'm gonna ask you of some of your fond memories too.
After this, we'll talk about Japanese travel tips. I'll help you out.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm definitely gonna be in touch with you about that.
Yeah.
And don't worry, guys, we're not gonna pull Logan Paul.
Oh,
or
dude,
anything like
that no joke. They give you crap at the border about that when you write YouTuber on your thing.
Oh wow.
They're like, "Are you like that?" Like you get I once at least was asked like, "Are you like the Logan Paul?" I was like, "No."
Oh God, no. We're gonna be really respectful, and it's just gonna be so chill and relaxing. So, I'm gonna talk about a fond memory I had with Shenmue.
Shoot.
And then we're gonna jump to your fond memories. So, I like yourself, when I saw Shenmue, I saw the cover art, I was like, ew, what is this? Like, I'm not gonna get that. So I'm trying to get some action game or whatever, or some shooter. But then I came across it again on Best Buy, and it was on sale for $20 or whatever. And my mom was with me. I was a young teenager, and I was like, I want this. Can you get it? Because I'm just looking at it, and I was like, it looks. It's just there's something about it now. Once I started looking at it, I'm like, it's $20. It looks kind of cool. He's fighting in the back. The art style is awesome. I like the dragon design. All right, so I told my mom to get it, and she went and got it for me. And then I remember when I went home and I popped it in the Dreamcast, I was like in a trance because I couldn't believe, like, at the time, like, that's what Shenmue was trying to go for. It was trying to be like this incredibly detailed game, and it clicked with me. Like, I didn't think it was boring from the moment it started. I was like, wow, because I love games that pay attention to detail. Like I'm gonna compare it to Yakuza because some of the original Shenmue creators worked on the original Yakuza, the first one, where when you're walking around in Yakuza, it's like it's floaty and arcadey, and everything just whizzes by. Everything is a blur. Even if you stop and stare at things, they're a blur. There's just no like personality. But in Shenmue, everything was intricate. Every step, every little crack on the floor, you felt like you were there. So when I was playing it, my mom saw the characters, and she's like, wow, this looks so real. What game is this? Like, she's never seen me play something like that. And I was like, well, Shenmue. So I was playing it. I fell in love with it. I was so engrossed in the story. I've never been so engrossed in a story since Metal Gear Solid, you know? And that's confusing-ass story. But this one was straightforward. You knew what the goal was, the characters you fell in love with. So as I kept playing, my family members will start having, fond memories themselves of watching me play Shenmue, right? And my uncle, may he rest in peace, he used to see me play Shenmue a lot, and he used to always like just talk about the detail. And he's like, "Oh wow, I like Ryo's style. See, like it's a simple style. Yeah, I would dress like that." You know, he would make all these like really funny comments and stuff.
Yeah, Ryo cosplay is one of the easiest ones.
Yeah, and it was amazing, man, and it was just such a tranquil time that when I was playing that game, and I used to get mad at my brother because I remember I got at the time Shenmue 2 came out, it was either Splinter Cell or Shenmue 2 because they came out around the same time, and I was like, I want both, and I definitely went for Shenmue 2. And then when I had it, I had school, and my brother wasn't going to school at the time because he was sick. And he played the game, and he beat it before me. Ooh. I didn't even get to touch it. And he's like, "Oh, I already know what happens. I beat it." I was so pissed. I was like, okay, because I like to take my time in these games, and I like trying to find all the little stories. And still, till this day, because I'm replaying the HD versions, I'm still finding things that I've never seen happen before.
Literally, I'll tell this.
Go ahead.
We'll have a fuller story. No, I want you to continue. I'm just saying, even I, who apparently is credited for things I don't deserve credit for, but even I still see scenes. Like I was at a thing in Los Angeles, which we should talk more about in a bit, but we had a dude playing it, a guy named Brian Figueroa. Shout out to you, because he saved my ass at that thing. And he was playing the game, and he brings up a cutscene in Shenmue 2 that where you see Wong inside of, like, Wong's photo inside of like a random shop, and people talking about. I'm like, I've never seen this scene in 20 years. I've never seen this scene.
I actually don't think I've seen
exactly, because you have no reason to see it. That's one of the beautiful things about Shenmue that a lot of people don't understand is there's a lot of aspects of the game that have no real benefit to the player, but that's the genius of it, is the immersion.
Exactly.
Like Shenmue 1, you can go over to the counter, pick up oranges, and look at. Why would you do that? Why? You don't need to, but it sells the universe because you can. That's and right. Shenmue 2 has a ton of that. There are so many spaces and environments the player has no reason to ever go to, but you can. Exactly. And because you can, you completely get sucked in.
And that's
genius.
It's amazing, yeah, definitely. Like when you're like talking to like the characters, ever since I played Shenmue, I compared every game. But before I move into that, I want you to tell us about your fond memories with Shenmue.
Well, like I said, originally it didn't do anything for me. It wasn't until years later where I revisited it, and I thought it was genius. Like, I got all the way through it, and then the Dreamcast versions. And have you played the Dreamcast versions? Like the ability to save from the first to the second?
Yes, that was the first one I got was for Dreamcast, but then the second one obviously didn't come out. I didn't know how to import at the time because I was young, so I just waited for the Xbox version to come out. I was really hyped about that.
So that was a feature in North America we didn't get to enjoy until the recent re-release, was the transfer feature from the first game to the second, because that one included all of your moves, all of your fighting skills, all of your capsule toys, your history. It actually completely changes the dynamic of the second game instead of starting off with like this default set of items and things and so forth. And it feels more immersive because it's your version of Ryo and your experience, and it changes the calendar dates and all sorts of stuff. But I just remember doing stuff like that. So I had the unfair advantage of being one of the few people who had the PAL version for Dreamcast in North America, at least when it was relevant. So that was exciting. But then I would just kind of go back and play it every once in a while, and I just loved it. And so after that, it was just mostly me talking about it in videos for years. It wasn't really until the last year or two since it really started amping up because of Shenmue 3's announcement, and then eventually being involved in all the HD stuff. And then now I go to a whole bunch of Shenmue related things. Last year I actually did this fun video at E3 where I got together. Corey Marshall's the lead actor. He plays Ryo. He's a friend of mine.
He's awesome.
And he's a great dude. Yeah. And so I asked him, hey man, I've got this idea. I want to film a video at E3, at the Sega show floor. I want to go there and I want you to be involved. I want you to wear a jacket, and we're just going to walk around, and we're going to have you just ask people questions as Ryo. We could pull that up actually if that's possible.
Yeah, let's do that.
Just look up Adam Koralik Shenmue E3 or something like that. I'm sure that series of keywords will come up. Koralik. And look up, Shenmue E3 probably would do it. No, or go see if we can go to YouTube itself possibly. Try as Ryo. Try Ryo Hazuki.
Oh, maybe.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I actually called. There you go. Interviewing people. There you go. So Yeah, sorry about the ads. Greedy YouTubers.
No, it's fine.
What are they doing?
We all gotta eat.
Yeah. Use Groupon. Yeah,
right.
so right there on the left, you got Corey Marshall, and on the right, you've got Lisa Wilkerson. She voiced various characters in Shenmue 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the basic premise of the video is, like I said, I just wanted them to go up and interview people and just see who got the joke and see who was confused. Some people really got it because they knew we were going to be there, so they're wearing like full Rio attire. Just click around and you'll see that stuff. It was a
Yeah, let's skip to that. That sounds really awesome.
yeah, just click anywhere. I got some cameos from my buddy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Kelsey Lewin's a friend of mine. Metal Jesus Rocks makes a
Yeah.
cameo in a minute because they're both friends of mine.
Did you see a black car that day?
His voice is, I was actually wondering how his voice would be now that he's much older, but still sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Can you translate the Chinese language? No.
Oh man, I can't wait for Shenmue 3.
Yes. Who doesn't? I don't really.
Did the people know anything about this?
Some people did, like the ones who were dressed like in cosplay there got it, and other people were just like, "What?" And some people figured it out like as we were going because like I remember that.
That's cool.
Tough fruit.
Hi, you're really cool. It reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever seen it, Mega 64.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's actually in the comments. A lot of people are like, "You stole us from Mega 64." I'm like, I have the actual actor.
He's the original
He's
voice
the actual guy who does it. I stole it.
You
Are you
can't
crazy?
beat that. You can't beat that.
Yeah, he's a buddy of mine. So we did this. Actually, it's funny. The first time I ever met Corey, I was in Los Angeles, and he was like, "Hey, we had done a podcast together." And he's like, "If you ever come out to Los Angeles, look me up, and we'll hang out." So I was like, "All right." So I went out there for an event I was invited to, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm in town." So he actually comes over, and then that was around the exact same time Kickstarter was going on, and he was like, "We should make a video to promote it." And I was like, "I totally agree. What was the idea?" Weirdest idea ever. We just laid in bed together and decided you need to promote
think I saw
Shenmue.
that.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first time I ever met him. I got in bed with him. That's always been the joke. Is like, hey man,
You got in
I got in bed with Corey the first time I met him. I'm just saying.
That's awesome, man. I mean, like, he's such a good sport. I'm so happy he's back. We're friends on Facebook, actually, so I mean, it's kind of surreal for me, but he's such a down-to-earth guy, and I'm happy that they brought him back. And a lot of people were like complaining about. Some people would complain about his voice in the first one, but he was much younger, and it was his first time, and he got it through college, right?
He actually auditioned through. I think he was in New York at the time.
He's so lucky. I wish I was a part of that.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, you can always have him on the podcast. He'd love to tell you stories. He's got so many stories. Like you were talking a bit about the detail of the game, right? Like going back, circling around to that. He'll tell you the story openly. Like when they were making the game and they would give him books of like information every day. He's like, he's like every single character. I mean, every single character, not just Rio and his father, whatever. Like every NPC had like massive books written about their history, including things like what their blood type was.
That's amazing.
Like everything.
That's cool.
The game was ridiculous in its intricate details.
And I love that. I mean, I remember Shenmue Passport, you'll have like, it talks about characters that you would just see walking by, but you never get a chance to talk to. There was characters that would walk by. You know the area where it's like the end of, is it Dobuita?
It must be.
No, like, and then it's like you just see highway cars and you can't go
Oh, yeah,
further.
right before you get the bus?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Dobuita.
Dobuita, right? So you would see people pass by, and they actually have a story, like in Shenmue Passport, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And let's segue into
Sure.
amazing things we like about Shenmue.
The actual game.
Yeah.
Well,
everything.
like I said, it's the intricate detail, man. I mean, first and foremost, for me, Shenmue is the story. That story is fresh. It's unique. At least to us in the West, because it's a Japanese story, deep in Chinese lore. So for us, that's like a very fresh take, which is why I think, ironically, it gravitated more towards a Western audience, even though it was intended more for a Japanese audience. And I don't know, I find that story just unbelievable. Like, I am so interested in seeing where it goes. The gameplay was always solid and fun, but to me, what really hooked it was the story.
Yeah. I love so many things about that game. Like I was going to say, I compare every game that I play to Shenmue. Like if a game was able to achieve all that in 18 years, like 18 years ago.
20 years ago.
20 years
the game
ago.
came out in 99 in Japan. 20 years ago.
Wow.
That game came out.
20 years ago, a game was able to achieve so much. Like all these new games have no reason not to even be close to that. For example, every NPC was a different modeled face.
Yep.
You didn't have like, you know, multiple characters like Grand Theft Auto who just spawn and they're just like whatever. No, every character had a different face and was different than the other NPC. That's why I developed such a connection with the game and the characters. I like the voice acting. I always played it in English. I like Ryo Hazuki's voice. Corey was awesome, and I kind of like understood him, and then it kind of built my personality too. I was a lot more serious growing into high school. You know, I was trying to be like, you know, tough like Ryu and not take shit from anyone. It kind of influenced my life. So a lot of the things I like too was because I love Jackie Chan movies and I love the Jet Li movies and Bruce Lee movies. It had a concept of martial arts. It wasn't guns or swords or anything. It was just martial arts. It was your fists and your legs, and that's how you deal with the situation in the game. I love the QTEs. Like actually back then, I loved the QTEs more than the free fighting. But now that I'm older, I'm like, no, I like both because free fighting is cool because you get to be in control. When I was younger, I just liked to be taken into the story and just like seeing all those cool cutscenes. It was so cinematic. I love games that are cinematic. Everything was voice acted. That's huge for me.
Yeah, every NPC has routines of dialogue that can only happen at certain times.
Yeah.
Like you could literally on your if you wanted to, if you sat down and went, I want to hear everything in this game, you literally can't, because as soon as you trigger something by learning something from one NPC, every other NPC's dialogue routines change. So you can't, and they contradict each other because, you know, like once you learn one, the others don't work. So you have to play the game a billion times, and that's why you'll always find new stuff in that game. It's insane.
Yeah, and that was like the, you know, the diverging paths. Sometimes I'll fail QTEs just to see how the failure cutscene looks like, and what happens, and then I'll reload and replay it again. Like it was crazy. It's absolutely amazing.
You made me think of something. So one of the funniest things when we had no evidence of a future Shenmue was the bad ending of Shenmue 2. Everybody went, well, I guess that's the canon ending. Because the bad ending of Shenmue 2, which actually kind of shows up in the Shenmue 3 trailer, is Ryo never makes it to Guilin. And if he never makes it to Guilin, China, what happens is Lan Di shows up and he just finds Shenhua and he just like, you know, he just says, okay, I'm going to take your power from my own. And then you're like, whoa, what does that mean? It's like, that was the closest thing we had.
That's exactly what I'm like wondering. Like, there's just so much, like, even on the Shenmue Online trailer, like, everybody's talking about the supernatural thing, but we're going to get into the interview with...
Can I put that in perspective?
Yeah, go
For
ahead.
anybody who's ever or never played Shenmue, and you wonder, like, in addition to us being fans, like, why we would be so devout to this game after, like, 18 years of wondering... If you've ever seen The Green Mile, you know, the Tom Hanks movie, Michael Clark Duncan, that movie is really good. It's got a strong story at the beginning. You're like grounded in it. It feels very real. It's interesting. It's going on, but there's a mystery building. You're not totally sure where it gets to. You get to that part where Michael Clark Duncan grabs Tom Hanks and then he just like barfs out a bunch of bees. It gets all weird on you and you're like, what was that? That's where Shenmue 2 ends.
Yeah.
That moment. And you go, what was that? And they're like, 18 years later, we're still in the cave.
Dude, that was probably one of the biggest. I remember there was like a top 10 cliffhangers, right? And they chose the most like crazy cliffhangers ever, and all of them were from movies. And then there was only one from a video game, and it was Shenmue 2, which was insane.
Yeah, it's exactly accurate.
Yeah. And that was pretty incredible. So that's all. That's everything I like about it. There's so much I could go on.
Oh, dude,
forever.
I could talk about Shenmue all day.
Yeah, there's so much things I love about that game. And you know, the developing of your move set. If you keep training it, it changes. Ine-san giving you money every morning, and you get to talk to her. It's so emotional. I'm so emotionally attached to the characters and the game. It's just so amazing. The detail and the fact that you have to like you know, take steps. Like the tank movement actually worked for me.
Me too.
Because it let me take in everything. And that's if you were to play a video game with me, you would notice if I'm playing an open world game, I'd like to have the camera zoomed in a little tight, and I like to walk slowly and take everything in. Because I want to just like, you know, I want to be immersed. If I'm not immersed, I'm not going to enjoy the game. And Shenmue just did that for me. It made me immersed incredibly. So we're going to jump out a little bit and talk about similar games that got inspired by Shenmue.
Sure.
And if you played any of them, or what do you think about them?
Yakuza 0.
The first one, yeah.
It's the
Yakuza.
most obvious answer.
Yeah.
To be fair to the Yakuza franchise, the only one I've spent any real decent amount of time with is Yakuza 0. Loved it. You can see the inspiration. It's very similar because it's got the Sega branding all over it.
Yeah.
It's a Japan
Arcades.
simulator. Yeah. It's got a lot of that. But I always look at Yakuza like it's three different things. It's Japan's sense of humor mixed with Shenmue, mixed with GTA. Like that's kind of what Yakuza is to me.
Yeah.
I see that in its inspiration, and you can see, QTE was obviously kind of spawned from Shenmue, for better or for worse. At least Shenmue did it the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you think of?
Well, a few. I mean, obviously the whole Yakuza series.
Yeah.
I remember there was people who worked on Shenmue that worked on it.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like it's bringing in a lot of similarities. I don't know if you've seen Yakuza 6. You could play in the arcade a full game of Virtual Fighter.
Really? Virtual
Yeah.
Fighter 1? That's news to me. I don't
Final
know.
Showdown. You could
Nice.
actually play the full game. Before it was just like a picture, like it was kind of like an Easter egg in Yakuza 1 or 2. I'm a huge fan of the Yakuza games too, because for me it was like something that's close to Shenmue. Since I couldn't enjoy it, I might as well enjoy this until like the actual Shenmue comes out. So I bought all of them. I'm like a really big fan. So there's like, yeah, you could play in the arcades Virtual Fighter, Space Harrier, Hang On.
That sounds
Outrun.
very familiar.
Yep. And that's why I was kind of upset. Well, we'll talk about that later. And then finally, the new one that's coming out, Judgment, which I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even heard about the controversy.
I even heard about that too. What do you think about it so far?
The game?
Yeah, like what do you think
Oh,
about
I
those
don't know
games?
much about that game specifically.
Yeah.
I'm excited that Sega's like getting more in there and like
Yes,
making more
yes.
games again.
Yeah,
I love that.
I'm really happy about the fact that they have like a full English voice acted
Yep.
cast. And with the whole controversy, I mean, I feel like sometimes Sega just has some bad luck, man. Like
That wasn't their fault. That was just a guy doing
exactly. It's
stupid
not their
things.
fault, and I hope the game still comes out here in the States because
It will. It's just going to be delayed or something, or
The cool-
patched or something like that.
Yeah, because the cool thing about us gamers nowadays is that we're really accepting of like Japanese culture games.
Mm-hmm.
Like back then, Shenmue had a hard time translating. They said, but it did well in the States. Than
It did
in-
better here than it did in Japan.
There you go.
And it's actually funny. It's kind of flipping over there in Japan itself. Now they're more embracing of Western games than they used to be.
Okay.
It's both cultures are grass is greener on the other side logic.
crazy is that?
It's more embraced here than it is over there, but it's starting to open up over there.
That's cool. And then finally, Judgment actually just showed like their features, and they have like a huge QTE segment.
Nice.
So it's like, I mean, you gotta. I just wish they could kind of like mesh or something, or just have like some call out for Shenmue. But we'll see.
Who knows? There's probably subtle touches.
Yeah.
Because this is all guessing. I do not know anything about this, but they obviously know Shenmue 3 is coming. They still own the IP. Who knows? There could be little seeded jokes within Judgment somewhere.
I would love that. That would be so
Again,
cool.
speculation time.
Yeah, yeah, that would be so cool. I just hope to see them like work together or make something. Because I'm in a perfect world. The Dragon Engine, the team behind the Dragon Engine will be like, hey, let's make Shenmue 4. Shenmue 3. I believe Shenmue 3 is going to be a success, and I'm hoping it's a success.
I sure hope so.
So this
I mean,
way,
in many ways,
yeah.
the fact that it exists at all
Yeah.
is already a huge
That's
success.
it, that's true.
I mean, that game punched its way out of the grave to exist. You heard about the Shenmue documentary?
yes, I was actually on it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm in the trailer. High five.
Yeah, I didn't make it to the trailer, but it's okay.
Shout out to Adam Scipione. Guys, go
Yes.
check that movie out. It's not out
Yes.
yet, but you should look it up. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, no, he was nice about it. He's like, "Hey, man, I know you're not in the trailer, but please share." I was like, "That's fine." It's something that I'm really looking forward to. I remember when the documentary was actually happening. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool!" And I'm actually going to Canada, so let me hit them up and see what's up. Hey guys, I'm a YouTuber. I'm actually I built a decent following, and I'm a really big
Decent
Shenmue
following. This guy destroys me. Like, utterly destroys me.
Dude, stop it.
It's true. You have literally 18 times my fan base.
No,
It's you deserve a round of
Thank you, I
applause.
appreciate that,
I'm the only
man.
one in the room, but you get it from me.
I
A round of
appreciate it.
applause.
Thank you so much, man. I really do. So I was like, it'd be awesome if you guys could have me on there. I'm a big Shenmue fan. As you can see, one of my big viral videos, I did like a little Easter egg thing where I was wearing a Shenmue jacket.
Yeah, you showed me that.
Yeah,
I
so
like that.
it's like, okay, I was trying to throw my tidbits in there. I even made like
Timbits because you're in Canada.
Yeah.
Joke that only Canadians will get.
So, and then I actually right after that I made a video which my viewers didn't really understand, and I didn't mind it because I was like, okay, look, I'm always doing like comedy videos, so I made one video which is like me talking about Shenmue and telling them, if you support me, go support Shenmue right now. Go donate, go do this, go do that, whatever. And a lot of my viewers did. They even just like plopped like down $5 each. So it was still cool. And it was risky for me because, like it's not my brand, whatever,
Right.
because, it's not a gaming channel, but I still wanted to take that risk because I loved it so much. So they
This
finally
is a
agreed.
good man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Don't
So-
edit that part out.
So I actually they agreed to the interview, and then the stars aligned. I actually had like a gig that I had to do in Canada at that time, so I asked the team to drive me to the spot with the interview, and then we had the interview, and it was so cool, man. And to see everybody that was a part of it, like this guy is dedicated. He has like a tattoo. He showed me the tattoo he has of the sword handguard. So I was just happy to be a part of it, and I can't wait for it to come out. So you guys definitely should check that out, the Shenmue
Definitely.
3 documentary. It was a long time in the making.
It's called A Gamer's Journey. Man, I mean, that's the most appropriate title ever because that documentary changed like a lot over the course of its time. Like I filmed footage for that thing like 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, because originally Shenmue 3 wasn't announced yet. So originally, there was a time where the documentary was more like, is this game ever coming? Like this is a story about a bunch of a fan base that hasn't received, the game that they're looking for. And while he's in production, it gets announced. So then it becomes about the journey of making it happen.
Yeah.
And then as that's happening, where's the re-release? Then the re-release gets announced. And then it becomes tracking the progress of 3 and tracking the progress of 1 and 2. And, the dude has magic on hard drives there. Like he's got a complete story. And he always wanted it to be, a gamer's journey. And he very literally did that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the journey not only of him, but of every one of us who went through it.
It's funny. That's going to be awesome because actually, when I did the interview, it was way back, like in 2015, I think.
Before or after the Kickstarter?
It was before.
See?
Yeah, it was before Shenmue was even announced. Like, so yeah, come to think of it, that's going to be a cool kind of arc that we're going to see.
Yeah.
So it's going to be definitely dope to see. Yeah. So tell me, what do you think about the HD releases?
So I was heavily involved in those. That was the thing that, like I said in the video, that Sega brought me out for. I actually did a lot for those. I got to go out to London to do a thing with Yogscast.
Okay.
And film videos with them
Cool.
to help promote it. And, I got to do a lot of fun stuff for that. And ultimately, the release itself, it had a lot of great benefits to it. Obviously running in a higher definition. It got being able to be dual language was great. There was additional subtitles for other languages. Unfortunately, the game, from a production standpoint, needed to come out, in my opinion, a little later because of the bug patches that were required for it. Now, that's the old school gamer in me that says we already knew what Shenmue played like, so it would have been nice if that had been there. But they got there eventually. The Japanese version is, I think, the one to own on physical because it's, got that built on a disc. Unfortunately, that one only has Japanese audio, so. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, if I was to go back and play it, which I have, that's the way I do it, is the re-release, typically on Xbox One.
Okay, cool.
What'd you think?
I actually was just happy it was coming out because I knew like it's going to be really hard to just remake the whole thing, whatever. Just make it come out. I want achievements. I want trophies. I want to see like what little things they could kind of like allude to in those because I love getting those achievements, right?
Yeah.
So it feels nice, like, I did this way back in the day, and now I'm getting an achievement for it, and that's how it looks, and that's what it describes, and that's the name of the trophy. I'm weird like that. So that was something that I was really looking forward to. I wanted something physical to hold for my new systems, and it happened. Of course, there was things that I would have liked more in it, like the cutscenes. I would have liked them to be full wide.
That was a logistical problem,
and that's something they can't do anything about. Yeah, but just things like that. I wanted other people to try it. I wanted, because my friends like, oh, so you're talking about this Shenmue thing the whole time. I might actually check it out now. And I was like, yeah, go check it out, play it. Take your time with it because it's not like any other game. You have to really. You have to get really give it time and be patient with it, and then it's gonna start unraveling itself into this beautiful thing.
See, one of the genius maneuvers, in my opinion, of that re-release was that they went with a full re-release. They made upgrades to it, but they didn't go too deep into how expensive it would be, which meant you could keep the price down to only $30 US for both games, which is ridiculous.
Which is amazing.
Compared to the previous versions, because the whole goal there is to reinvigorate the brand, and not only for them to make money off it, of course, but to gauge interest and build interest on Shenmue 3. So having 1 and 2 out there for an affordable price like that. That was the way to go.
Yeah, and I bought it on all systems.
Me too, dude. Not only did I buy them on all systems, I mean, Sega sent me press copies. I've got the PS4 promo press copy. I've got the Xbox One press copy.
Cool.
I have the Australian versions, the Korean versions, the Chinese version. I get all this stuff.
That's dope.
But I'm insane. You want to do all that?
Yeah, it's not for everyone, but hey, it's still cool. I think it's awesome. It's something to respect because we want to I want to cherish history because in the future we're gonna look back and be like, oh man, it's good to hold on to these things. I just ordered actually the collector's edition for Shenmue 1 and 2 HD, the Japanese version. I was happy to find that for a good price, so it's on its way.
It's a nice set. It also comes with music CDs.
That's
the Shenmue 2 music CD that's the only time Sega ever officially released that audio.
There you go, and I'm happy to have
Here's
that.
a fun fact about the audio. Of all the audio you've ever heard from Shenmue, it's only 20% of what they originally recorded.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's one of the great things about Shenmue 3 that people don't realize, is people look at the budget and think it's really low, which that's a different story, but there's so many aspects of it they don't actually have to pay for, because the music, done.
Yeah.
The Unity engine, Unreal Engine, donated. Stuff like that. It's okay, then all the development funds just go to development itself. So there's so many aspects where they were able to improve upon because they didn't have to pay other things.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to say that the music is one of my most favorite things about the game.
It moves you. It utterly moves you. The second you start hearing it, you get goosebumps if you're a fan. So I'll never forget that Shenmue 3 drop with the feather.
I have people who are not fans and they love the music. They're saying this is intricate. They've never heard anything like it.
Yeah, and when you go, this is from a video game, they go, what? Exactly. What video game would do this? It's the craziest, best video game ever is what did this.
Yes. No, yeah, that's definitely true, man. And I'm just waiting right now to get them digitally, too. I actually got the PlayStation 1 digitally. I'm going to get the Xbox One digitally, and I got the Steam digitally. So I'm going to get them digital, too.
Well done.
I don't want to open up my...
Of course.
I actually bought 2 copies, and I keep them sealed.
Yeah,
and
both
then
of them?
Yeah. So.
Did you get the elusive European Collector's Edition?
There's a European one?
Yeah, exactly. Only 950 copies. It came out from a website called Pixin Love. Wow. They did it retroactively after this thing was successful. They're like, well, let's make a collector's edition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does it have?
I don't know because mine never showed up. Lost in the mail, and then they gave me a refund. They were nice enough to do that, but I actually don't have that version.
Dude,
but
that sucks.
I think I know. It's got the game. I think it has art books and other stuff. I don't remember what else is in it.
Someone stole it.
Probably.
Yeah. It's all right.
So they did that for PS4 and the Xbox One as well.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's actually really awesome.
It was a very, very limited release, only from France.
Wow. Well, there you go. Maybe hopefully they'll make another one.
That'd be nice. Another batch.
Yeah. I have the Shenmue statues, Landi and Ryu.
Yeah,
have that. Yeah. Got the special editions too.
Yep. Both.
Awesome. Yeah, I love them. They're cool.
I have so much random Shenmue stuff, man.
Yeah.
Actually, Magic Monaco just happened, so they have a new Shenmue 3 T-shirt.
Yes.
I've got that on the way.
How'd you order it? I was trying to figure out.
I'm in all those Shenmue communities. I was like, I need a shirt. Who can help me? And then dude's like, I got you.
That's awesome, dude. I was trying to order that, but it's only exclusive. So,
ridiculously expensive T-shirt.
Really?
60 euros at the location. Which the dude was cool enough. He's like, I'm not going to charge you anything. I'll just pay for it and then you pay me back. Yeah.
That's cool.
But 60 euros for a shirt? The game costs 60 euros.
I know, right? All right. So now we could move into Shenmue 3.
Can we?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about Shenmue 1, 2, our memories and everything like that. Let's start by watching the trailer really quick.
By all means.
And then we'll talk about it after.
Okay. Shenmue 3's coming? Okay.
無様なもんだな。その程度のクンフーで俺様に勝てるとでも思ったのか。
That's the moment I was talking about.
Yeah, that's the moment, right? It's like the bad ending.
Yeah, of Shenmue 2.
I think she looks cuter now, don't you think?
少し前にゴロツキがこの村を荒らしていったと聞いたのですが。
Ryu's starting to look a lot better.
Yeah, yeah.
今日はどこだと怒鳴りながら家探しをしてこの通りだよ。この人たちは一体誰なんだ。シェファー、これは。
Okay.
The goosebumps.
I know, right? I'm really actually hoping that this right here will become the box art.
I think it was.
Yeah?
I think you can actually. I don't know who
Because-
if this is a conflict of interest, but there's a certain website that starts with an A and ends with an N that has. That's a buying website. Am I not allowed to say certain websites?
No, you can say
Amazon. They have a pre-order, and I'm pretty sure the box art is that.
I hope so, because what I saw was different. And a lot of people kind of worried. This looks beautiful. I mean, it's going to pop. Imagine with the white background and just that two characters just like that. It's amazing. That's Shenmue to me. Like,
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
I assume you get the reference.
Yeah.
The tree.
The tree, yeah, for sure.
The tree is Shenmue.
Yep.
Shenmue's a tree. Spoilers.
So I used to call it Shenmue when I was younger. So I don't know. Some people say still say
I still
that.
hear Shamu, the whale game. What?
Yeah. So okay. So let's talk about it. First off, I want to say that my mom, she never says this about anybody or anything, but when she saw Ryu's face when I was playing a game, because you know how it closes this up and when he's talking, she's like, "Wow, he's handsome." My mom never says that about anyone, so that's why it was very important. Because that stuck with me. I was like, yeah, he looks cool. He needs to look like that. And thankfully, he's starting to...
Yeah, they got him right. They finally got him there.
Finally got him, and he looks awesome. Shenhua, she actually looks a lot better now, I think, in my opinion. Because I know Yu Suzuki was saying that she was like more of a tomboy back then and stuff. She still looked great, but now she's kind of like, you know, she has this like pure innocence to her, and I think it looks beautiful. So we're going to talk about a couple of things that people have brought up because of this trailer, and I want to know your thoughts.
Sure.
All right, so the first thing that people brought up was the stiff animations. What do you feel about that?
I mean, originally or this version?
Originally, like how it changed, and then, you know, what it looks like now.
To be honest, I mean, when it comes to the stiff animations, as people originally pointed out, I always thought, like, just give them time. Like, it's not like they're going to be unaware, and it's the internet. You're going to react publicly.
Yeah.
Like, the game's in development. It's not done, you know? I mean, the trailers we were seeing were, like, well over a year ago. It's like, give it time. And in fact, I think it was 2 years ago when we saw, like, one
I'm
of them.
happy they delayed
Yeah.
it.
That game needed to be delayed.
Yeah.
And my thing on that is don't rush it out just to get an arbitrary release date. Like, do the game right, because this game has to work for the series to continue. It just has to.
Exactly.
So this is your shot. Don't screw it up. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm very happy with the fact that they made various improvements. I have no complaints about that because they've been doing it right.
All right, and then there was an interview with Yu Suzuki now that they're starting to come out from Magic Monaco.
Yep.
And he talks about a few things. He talks about a major thing that kind of surprised some people, where he said that throw moves are not going to be in the game. So
I hadn't heard that.
You hadn't heard that?
No, that's news to me. Breaking news.
Yeah. So to be honest, I'm okay with it. I mean, I was just recently playing. It's kind of hard to pull them off anyway. And if it means the game to come out and to still have that strong story, then I'm okay with that. Maybe it'll come out in DLC, who knows? But yeah, he mentioned that because they had to recreate the moveset. They weren't using the Virtual Fighter moveset and carrying it over. They had to recreate every moveset. They had some trouble with throw moves. So do you think that's going to have a large effect on the game?
Personally, no, because I never used them.
I was just gonna say
exactly.
that,
Like I was always about kicking and punching and some combination moves like Iron Palm and stuff. But like, I lacked the fighting game skills to be able to do any cool stuff like that.
It was cool to have, like you said. Remember, like we didn't use it much, but you can. Right?
Yeah.
So it was a little upsetting.
Can't be hypocritical about that.
Yeah.
It would be nice, but do I find it essential? No.
Yes, same here. I'm in the same boat. It would be. I was kind of like, oh man, that sucks. The throw moves are out, but that's fine. And as I kept reading the interviews with him, he was talking about a lot of things that he wished he had in the game. And I'm gonna tell you what it is, and then tell me your thoughts about that. So there's gonna be like turtle races, and I forgot what the other one was.
Because of duck racing.
Yeah. Which was really cool, by the way. It was like a secret
It's
thing.
one of the hardest, weirdest things to unlock in Shenmue too.
And I unlocked it like years later.
Yep. Yeah.
So-
Nobody figured that out organically. Like you had to know. Like,
Yeah.
maybe one guy, and then you
So
just spread the word of it. Like you can duck race.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so he has like a turtle race, and I think he has some other race, but I forgot what it was. And then he wanted to add a snail race.
Odd.
Yes.
But okay.
But this is going to make you appreciate the mind of Yu Suzuki more when you understand why and how he was going to implement it. But he didn't put it in. But he was actually serious in an interview, and they were like, really? Like, well, like that takes forever. And he's like, well, he wanted to just kind of emphasize the time that Ryu has and the time that goes around him. So he'll place his bets, and then you go about your day, and then the next day he'll find out and go back to the place and find out like the outcome of the race. So it's like, yeah. So you play the game, you make the bets, you play the game, and then you come back. And you
Realism. Immersion.
which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you could stay and watch it happen if you want, or you could just play the game, come back, and see what happens. Which is cool. Like that's how his mind works, and that's why I think he's just such an important facet in the gaming community, and we need to keep using his mind and have him create games, because he's not going to be here forever, you know? And that's why I just think it's amazing to have his mind and genius just being used right now. And that's why I'm trusting every decision he makes. I feel like he learned a lot from Shenmue 1 and 2, that he's going to be making the right and necessary decisions for Shenmue 3. And the cutting corners and everything like that in order to have this game made in the way it is. And I know he wants so much to be done, but
there's one thing. All right, so what you said there is a point that I've heard a couple of times about one very specific thing, and it bugs me. Nothing you said, but just reminding me. Cutting corners, and specifically, I know people are going to point out in Shenmue 3, they're going to be like, the first one was such a big thing, was such a big environment, and so many characters. The second one, huge, you're in Hong Kong and everything. Third one's going to be like small. There's not going to be that many characters. Is it because it was a Kickstarter budget? No. Think about it this way. That game was meant to be a rural Chinese village with a population of 50 people, even if Shenmue 3 had come out on Dreamcast in 2002.
yeah.
Don't go into this expecting this giant, grand epic.
Yeah.
You won't get that as far as the number of characters.
Well, that's a good way to kind of like de-hype yourself.
Yeah,
But
I want to be, as you pointed out at the beginning of this,
Yeah.
I'm pragmatic.
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying
hey,
to keep it real.
I do have to tell you this though. He did confirm that he actually upped it to 500 NPCs.
What? Because that's a continuity error. I'm
Yeah.
calling it right now. Problem.
Yes.
Whole game sucks.
He actually he actually confirmed that he's actually having 500 because the budget was great and he may manage to work it in. But the way they were able to do that is that you're not going to be able to talk to everybody. There's going to be people that you just can't talk to.
I wonder if that means that there's going to be that must mean you go outside of Guilin, because within the confines of the story, for
Yeah.
us super nerds who really care,
He
there's only
said it's bigger than Hong Kong.
That's impressive then.
Yes.
Because within the confines of the game, like with the storyline, there's only 50 people who live in Guilin.
Yeah.
So if we're leaving Guilin, awesome.
I'm just happy to hear all that, you
Me
know?
too.
So there's a lot of good things, and then there's a lot of, I don't want to call them bad things, just like kind of things that you wish there were there. I wanted to know, like, how'd you feel when it was announced that, when my brother texted me, I was in London at the time, and he texted me, he's like, yo, Shenmue 3's coming out. I was like, nah, stop playing. You do this every year for me in E3. Like, stop it already. And then he's like, no, I'm not joking. It's fucking happening. Go check it out right now. I was like, I was so freaking excited. But then when I found out it was a Kickstarter, I was like, fuck. I kind of got upset because I wanted it to be a full-fledged, because I know Yu Suzuki. I want every single thing he wants to be in the game, because you saw that list and I was like, oh man, are we going to get the 11 million? I hope we do, because I want to see all that, like the mini games and then the full, like he was talking about so many things and all that. And I was hoping that, but at the end of the day, I kind of like got over that, and I went through my crazy phase because I was so happy, and I was like, you know what, we're still getting it. This is happening. I cannot believe it. I was in tears, man. It's crazy how this game has touched me, you know? So with that said, he also talked about this earlier in the development of Shenmue 3, that you might be able to play as Ren and Shenhua. How do you feel about that?
Is that still there? Because I remember that. I remember that elements
actually-
of it,
yeah,
but
they
I haven't heard
actually-
any updates in years on that.
They actually interviewed him about that at the interview, but then he said no comment.
So that means probably yes. Because if it was no, I think he would just say it at this point. Because the thing is, only those of us who, hell, I didn't even remember that until you said it. Most of us probably don't remember that was ever going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So he would just say no, and most people wouldn't care. So the only reason to say no comment is, yeah, it's probably going to be at least a part, kind of like maybe like Resident Evil 2, where you briefly take over Sherry Birkin for like a level or something. But
Yeah.
I would bet that's probably as extensive as it goes,
Yeah.
because I think anything else would be too much.
Yeah,
Because
I
you're
just-
supposed to play as Rio.
Exactly. I just hope it doesn't go too deep into it, because I wouldn't want it to take away from Rio's story and
I
then what
agree.
they could, like the resources that they could use for Rio instead of having to.
Precisely.
You know, I wouldn't mind a cutscene or, you know, like a backstory or something that's happening that we can understand what's going on with them. But, I mean.
I don't
we'll
want it
see.
to go Metal Gear Solid 2 on me.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do that.
Do not do
do
that.
not do that.
Do not do
It's a little late to warn you, but don't do that.
Yeah, because he wants so much in there, and you know, every time I hear him talk, I was like, "Oh my god, that would have been such a cool idea! Like, why are you telling me this?" Because he's trying to be, but he's trying to be pragmatic like you. He's like, you know, but I know how to work around this now, and I got to be realistic in the goals that we want and work around the budget that we have. Yeah,
Can we talk about the budget?
go ahead.
So, all right. Anybody out there who's played Shenmue or at least heard of it usually hears, "Hey, did you know the original game had a $70 million budget and all they got in Kickstarter is $6 million?"
7 million
No, but
technically.
yeah, after the Slacker backer. See, you're informed. Good on you. No, but see, people point that out. It's not true. So it turns out the 70 million. I actually talked to a guy at that E3 thing, and he was like a guy. I was wearing this exact shirt, filming that video, and he was like, "Oh, that game," because he got all mad about it because he used to work there, and he was telling me like when we worked there, we had no idea what this game was. All we knew is it was expensive. It had something to do with a girl, which is why all the ads were about Nozomi. He was even going on about like, you know, I had to quit at one point because Yu Suzuki wanted to do something with flowers or whatever. Corey Marshall is calling me right now. How funny is that?
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna have Corey Marshall on the podcast.
Yo, dude, what's up? Hey, do you want to be on a podcast?
Yeah.
All right, then I'm going to throw you on speaker. That's all I got. I'm at the YouTube space in New York. I'm going to put you on speakerphone. You are on speakerphone.
What's up, Corey?
Hello.
Hi, Corey. My name is
Yeah.
Karim, and you're on Coffee and Karim. And I just want to say thank you so much for lending your awesome voice. We can't wait to hear Shenmue 3. And please, if you can have anything you want to say on this podcast, it would be awesome.
Yeah. So, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it, and I'm glad to be with you guys. And, if you guys have any questions for me, I'd love to answer anything. If any fans or anything like that have some questions, I don't know if you guys got a stream going on. But, I'm here for you.
Awesome. Well, we have one question. How is it? Like, are you finished recording your audio or still going through?
Yeah, so, I don't believe I'm allowed to answer that question.
We tried.
Unfortunately, you asked a question that I just have to flat out just say, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. That sounds good.
Yeah, I can say this. Of course, people know that we have already started, and we have a huge chunk of it already recorded. I can probably say that. And if you guys hunt around online, you can see, me and a couple other characters, and probably people know by now that even my daughter makes an appearance in Shenmue 3.
Yeah, tell us about that. How was it like having your daughter? We saw that picture, and it was really incredible.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Katana's been doing acting for a long time. She's been doing commercials and TV and all that kind of stuff for a while now. So this is, Shenmue was my first venture into the voiceover world, and Shenmue is Katana's first venture into the voiceover world.
That's
so,
awesome.
She did a really, really good job. So she's only 9 years old, and people may know that when you're doing voiceover, you're seeing the script for the first time coming up on the screen, and she just, she took it like a champ. She really she really is just great at sight reading and putting her characters, because she had to do two different characters, putting those voices and those two different characters into the script that's coming at her for the first time right then and there. So she did really, really well. I was impressed.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
That's incredible, and we're so honored to have you here. And I don't want to take up too much of your time. Hopefully, we can have you here in person. But before we go, can you give us a funny line in Ryu's voice?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think probably some of my favorite lines are, "Excuse me, do you know where I can find any sailors around here?"
That's it.
Oh, of course. I think Adam and I discussed what's going on my gravestone is let's get sweaty.
Well, no, I said it was hashtag sailors found.
Yeah, yeah. Hashtag sailors found. Right. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much,
So,
Corey, man. I appreciate it. And that was awesome. And we hope to hear from you again. And we cannot wait to play Shenmue 3. And again, thanks for the awesome memories we had in Shenmue 1 and 2. It was just great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And I want to tell all the fans out there, anybody who's, dreaming or wishing about, what they're going to see in Shenmue, really, is like, I think you guys are going to be, especially the fans of 1 and 2 are going to be really happy with, it's like a continuation of the story. You guys are going to, all the things that you know and love about Shenmue is like I said, it's a continuation, and we're going to pick up right where we left off. And it's a lot of great fun, and I hope that everybody really enjoys it, new and old fans. We
definitely will, and we're really happy that you're back, too. Thanks again.
Hey, appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks, Corey. Later.
All right. Yep. Bye.
Bye.
That was cool, man. Thanks for that.
Oh, no problem.
That was really cool.
Yeah, he's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's such an awesome guy for that. I was kind of nervous, but I was trying to hold it together. I kind of asked like two questions in the beginning. I was like, it was like two questions in one. But
like I said, first time I met him, I got in bed with him. I'm just saying.
Dude, it would be awesome to have him if he wants to come here with you next time.
We could. Really cool. I could definitely talk to him about it. It's always a possibility.
Yeah. This place, the space is always open for him.
Well, right on. Yeah. Good to know. So we'll talk more about Corey in a minute, because he and I got together not too long ago. I'd like to tell you that story. But let's finish what we were saying, the budget thing.
Yeah.
So long story short there, basically the game, this dude I had talked to at E3 said we didn't know anything about it except it was expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yu Suzuki wanted to do something with flowers. We didn't know what that was, referring to the Shenmue 2. So he's like, I just quit. He didn't even know there was a Shenmue 2. And I was like, we're working on Shenmue 3. He's like, what? Like, there was a 2? Anyway, so one of the things we did in our marketing was we just said it cost $70 million. It didn't. It cost $47 million. And it's like, whoa, okay, it only cost... That included Shenmue 1, Shenmue 2, the ill-fated Virtua Fighter RPG, as well as Shenmue Saturn.
That's right.
It was for 4 games, and that also included the publication and marketing of Shenmue 1 and 2. Right. So when you actually break it down to development budget, it's
probably $20 million?
No, you're taking 4 games worth of marketing and budget from $47 million. You're talking actual game development budget, not publication budget, not marketing budget, just game development budget. You're talking about the same amount that Shenmue 3 has to work with. Now, Shenmue 3, as I mentioned earlier, is not limited by money required for music. It's not required to pay for the game engine.
The story.
Yeah, a lot of the assets that were originally created by Sega and all that stuff is still there, and they had free reign to use it. So the point I'm making to you is, don't let those numbers on the face of it, like, trick you into thinking one's going to be better than the other on just that basis. They have a very similar amount of assets to work with, and the results, I think, speak for themselves here. This stuff looks great.
It does.
It looks fun, and as Corey himself just told you, like, story-wise, like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they got
he just
it down.
got me a lot more hyped than
How could he not? Yeah, he's a really good dude. He and I actually, he invited me out to Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago to be an MC for him. He wanted to do like a big fan event out in Los Angeles. We went to a place called Game Realms, it's a store, and we got Lisa Wilkerson involved. She's a voice actor. She was in that E3 video I was showing you. And we just invited fans to come out and do a Q&A. I did a live performance for them, and having all the fans talk. I got some sponsors to be involved.
That's incredible.
Yeah, no, it was funny because originally he was just gonna do a fan thing, and I was was like, dude, let me get some people involved here. So I hope I'm allowed to talk about other people who got involved in things.
Yeah, for sure.
A store called Castlemania Games, I got them involved. You guys should go follow these guys. They're great. They were like, hey, man, well, get us involved and we'll send out free merchandise to the fans. Like, they literally we gave away stuff. A company called Marseille Inc., they make this thing called the M Cable that, makes video games look astonishing. I'll talk to you more about that later. You're going to love it. And then Sega themselves. Sega had nothing to do with this, and I contacted them like, hey, man, I'm going to do this thing for Shenmue. Can you guys get involved? And they were like, you know what, sure. So they were like, they tweeted about it. They actually live streamed it on their Twitch channel. Yeah. And then talking to the people, they're like, how did you do all that? And I'm like, I don't know. I know people somehow.
Dude, you have that touch, bro.
Apparently. But I'm not trying to sound arrogant or anything. I'm just saying it was a great time.
Dude,
I do all that for Shenmue. It's the same reason I'm here. Flew out today just to be like, I'll help anything for Shenmue. Anything for Shenmue, man.
Believe it, like, I and everyone watching do appreciate that. So thank you so much for coming through.
My pleasure.
We have, final questions.
Sure.
So we could wrap it up. Why is the font different than the original? Do you
my understanding is the original font, Sega no longer owns that, or whoever owns the, in this case, it would still be EaseNet's developing it, but Shenmue is still ultimately a Sega IP. It's actually the same reason you don't have the Shenmue font available in the re-release either. Whoever actually owns that font, it's lost to the ages.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know who owns it.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, it's whoever actually has the rights to it, it's lost to whoever that is, which is why, for Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, they had to use Mystrial as their font because it kind of looked like it. Little funny story. The day I went to Sega Fest when they announced all this, we went to a Japanese restaurant in Japan afterwards, and we're looking at the menus. Everything was written in Mystrial font. And then I turned to the vice president of Sega of Europe, and I'm like, can I nerd out on you for a second? He's like, what? And I was like, you guys, this is the same font using that game. He's like, okay.
So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think of how it looks?
Oh, I like it just fine. I think the S is a little weird, but it almost looks like a giant B, like a lowercase b.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with it. I'm not here for the font of the game.
Yeah, but I look at it as a marketing sense because, I want people who don't know what Shenmue is, if they were to look at it, to know exactly what it is. I was hoping it would be just, if they couldn't get the original font, just to have, I don't know if you saw the Edge magazine, just use that font. Like that font, like that just regular capitalized font. It's bland, but it's just very clear what it is.
They still have time to change this. I would tell them do the same font that Sega used for the re-release.
Or the Kickstarter. Did you see the Kickstarter font?
I'm sure I did, but I don't remember it offhand.
Going over the water pedals and the water and the...
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, I can't visualize the particular font.
Yeah, whatever
I guess what I'm saying is I agree with you that you could change this font.
Yeah, because I just want people to know what it is. That's all. If they look at it, be like, oh, Shenmue. Because what you said actually is correct, too. I didn't notice that, the B, but the 3 looks good.
The 3, I agree with that.
Looks good, and...
it looks like the 3 from Ninja Turtles 3.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily the best omen, but...
It might seem like we're nitpicking, but...
that's the point we're down to.
Believe me, we want this game... we want everything to be perfect.
We're so excited about the game. We're not, coming down on it for the font. I mean, come on.
Exactly. And then finally, what was it that I wanted to mention? We talked about the Sega arcade games are not going to be in it. We talked about that, right?
I don't think we did.
All right, well, Sega arcade games are not going to be in it. How do you feel? He said other games would be in there.
I'm fine with it.
I think he could recreate it.
It's a bonus ambiance, and to me, it's always like, well, why would a rural Chinese village have that?
Yeah. You want me to be completely honest? I mean, I loved having them in there, and like you said, it was cool to try. You can do it. I would play the arcades maybe once or twice, but then the actual mini games in Shenmue, I would play more.
Yeah. Oh, darts. I had more fun doing that than Hang On.
Darts, Lucky Hit.
Yeah.
And the QTE punch.
Yeah, those are honestly more memorable. And that's way more quotable. People seem to resonate. It was always just kind of cool that you could play those arcade games. But did I? No, because it gets to a point. The darts thing can, kind of be engrossing because it can be something the character is doing. Even in Shenmue 2, when you do bets against people, you can do that. But the thing with Hang On or whatever is you start to play it and forget you're playing Shenmue, which is not really the best.
Yeah, it was just cool to have.
It was cool, but unnecessary.
But then again, Sega, they don't want to provide those.
I don't know the details of that. Well, I mean, again, Sega is involved in the sense they own the IP. Yeah. Beyond that, I don't think they really have anything to do with it.
Well, I hope this game is a success.
It needs to be.
And I hope Sega sees this, and then someone out there...
They will. I'll send it to them.
Maybe the Dragon Engine team, from the Yakuza Ryoga Gotoku Studios will maybe touch this. It'll be amazing. if it is a success. But I believe it's a success. And if you guys don't know what Shenmue is, if you're watching this or listening, go check it out. It's Shenmue. Incredible story, great gameplay. Give it a chance. You'll love it. And I'm hoping it's going to be a success. But deep inside, I feel it's already a success. And it will be a success.
Go pre-order it now. It's available at Amazon and GameStop and all those places. Buy this. Support
Yes.
it. If you value art and you value the power of fan support to bring back something like this, this deserves your money.
Yeah. Great storytelling, great music, great characters. Then this is the game to buy. And once it comes out, what are you going to do?
Depends on where I am in the world at that
Yeah.
point.
I'm gonna take like a week off.
I'm gonna try, man. Like it's gonna be tough because I'm gonna be. I know I'm gonna be like blown up on like every social aspect to be like.
Oh yeah, you're probably gonna be really busy.
Dude,
once that comes
I'm
out.
never gonna get. I'm not gonna be able to play it. Like I'm gonna be
Yeah.
just bothered by people. I'm gonna try to isolate myself. I'm gonna have to go completely dark because it's
Yeah.
like, did you hear the ending? Like I get that in some awful tweet or something. I'm just gonna have to shut down and just play that game.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for coming
you.
through. And actually, I hope that we could have you again.
By all means, I'd be
as a
happy
guest, once Shenmue 3 finally comes out, and maybe there's other things we could definitely talk about.
Yeah, I know some stuff.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I'm here with Adam, and before you go, if you want to just have some closing remarks and also your socials, so they can follow you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me involved. This
You're
has
welcome.
been awesome. Much better than I expected, to be honest with you. This is
Cool.
that was very cool. Yeah, socials. Everything is just my name, Adam Koralik. YouTube.com, Adam Koralik. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Love to meet new viewers, talk to people, and yeah, it's been a huge honor to be here because this has been really cool, man.
Thank you for coming, Adam Koralik, and
thank you.
hopefully we see
Thank you
each
for-
other again, man.
Oh, definitely. That's like a guarantee.